All right, so we're live. So in this video, I'm just going to be showing you how, actually, let me be sure that we're actually streaming the correct thing. I'm just going to go back here and then redo this. All right, so basically, I'm talking about this one difference that makes your window lead generation profitable at scale. So basically, I'm with Lead Phoenix AI. We've generated tons, thousands of leads in the home remodeling, home services space, right? So thousands and thousands of leads. You can actually go to our website and see what we do here. We've generated over $1 million in signed contracts, like just this year alone. So again, just show that, okay, at least we know what we're doing, right? Um, so this video we're talking about the one difference that makes window lead generation profitable at scale. So first of all, let's probably start with the reason why your leads are expensive right now. The problem is most leads, like lead gen, like actually relies on direct response. Like a lot of ads that I see, if you go to Facebook or Meta or Instagram, the ad library, you see people saying, you see a lot of copy or messaging that actually relies on, do you want your windows replaced? Tap here now and fill out this form, right? What that does is it targets the 3% that everybody else is targeting. Obviously, it's like, when you're fishing like in a red ocean, right? It's going to be expensive. And the problem is, like, this messaging is ignoring the 97%, like the other people that are actually easier to target, easier to reach. But then, if with a little bit of a tweak, a little bit of a fix, right, we can actually, tweak the ads, tweak the messaging, and get cheaper leads, and also be able to, you know, um, actually get even more quality leads because of the way we're doing the messaging. You will actually see how that works as well too, right? Okay, so then the first step to do this is to actually get into the psyche of the client, right? Um, a lot of targeting right now just does, what, females 35 to 50 in New Jersey, and then we send like a generic buy windows. Okay, like how many windows do you want to replace? Like, the generic ads. But if we flip that from the demographic targeting into the psyche based marketing, so instead of the females in New Jersey, we know we actually have an avatar. We call her Maria, for example. Maria is terrified of lead from old windows, or maybe just even turning on the space heater in winter. If you notice, we are moving away from the generic. Okay, I get energy efficient windows, save on your bills, get warm. They've seen these ads like tons and tons of times. Like, it's like there's banner blindness at this point, right? Because they actually just, you know what, I've seen it so many times. People don't even react to it anymore. They kind of put you in the box, and once you kind of they put you in, you get put in the box, then your messaging just lands flat. Sometimes you might get leads, but then they'll be very expensive. So we do things differently. We want the client to feel, by getting into their psyche, we want the client to feel, okay, you know what, this guy actually knows me, right? So we are going beyond the generic message of get low E windows, get energy efficient windows. Like, we're going with a different message. So how do we do that? So what we do is we actually implement the intelligence engine. Later, I'm gonna show you like an AI tool that we actually use to get this messaging, to get deep inside the mind of the client. And then the idea is we can actually go into deep inside the mind of multiple clients, and then we have tons and tons of unlimited ways to actually message the client. But you know what? Let me not get ahead of myself. Let's get to where we're talking about right now. So basically, you get this intel by camping out in the places where your market is, right? They're on Reddit, they're on forums, maybe not forums anymore, but then they are writing reviews on Google Maps, right? But Reddit is actually a really huge one. In Reddit, people just bare their minds, right? You don't even know how much bearing goes on in there, right? Because the person that wants to buy Windows is actually buying that for a certain reason, right? What is the deeper reason? What is the actual reason behind it? And then what we do is basically just gather data. What are they complaining about, right? What are people talking about? And what is actually most important? Well, first of all, is how many times they're talking about it, but also what they are saying, right? So in their own voice, right? In their own words. Because the thing about marketing is like if you can actually explain to someone the problem that they have in their own voice better than they actually can explain it themselves, you will get that person. Like you will actually get that person as a lead because they'll be like, oh, as I said, wow, this guy actually knows me. We are going beyond the generic message, right? So, for example, like we have um, the person said, okay, the price they gave us was $10,000 less than other companies who came out before them. Their pricing is fair, right? So we know that people are really concerned about price transparency. So we can now decide what kind of hook we're going to use in that marketing, right? Again, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'll show you how this tool works, and then we can actually, get that all set up. Then the next one is actually the competition radar, right? Which actually is really, really important because you can actually now go and mine the best and the worst reviews of your competition, right? If their reviews say, okay, they never pick up the phone, then you know what to talk about. You know what their problems are, right? You can actually say, okay, your marketing hook becomes we answer on the first call or we answer on the first dial, right? So you can see, I'm going to show you this in a second, right? Right. So that's the intelligence engine. So we are going to actually find the deep intelligence behind what the client is thinking. Then, when we gather all that intelligence, what do? We now create avatars and then we talk directly to this avatar, right? So what we're doing is like we're not talking to everybody anymore. We're not saying, okay, yo, if you live in New Jersey, give us a call. Come and install get Windows installed. We actually pick out a person. We actually give them a name, maybe Skeptical Steve or Budget Savvy Maria, for example, right? And then you actually now go deep into what Maria is thinking about. She's budget conscious, she's practical, family oriented, always looking for the best deal, right? Rising energy bills and the drafty house. That's her purchase triggers. And we know what the pain points are. She's worried about the high cost of window replacement, needs a payment plan, overwhelmed by the number of choices, and then she wants energy efficient windows to save long term. So imagine having all these four pain points, and then we can actually pin, pin on each of these four pain points with multiple different hooks, which I'm going to show you in a second. And then we have a way to reach Maria five different times. So imagine we've got Maria, we've got Steve, we've got Jason, and we know the different kind of triggers that they actually react to. We've got 15 different ads that we can actually um, create and send to this person. And then that targeting is done, right? So then the cool thing about having this avatar is that okay, in our company we have like a bank of proven viral hooks because we generate our leads mostly on Meta and YouTube, right? These platforms, there's a certain way of reaching people, right? If you go with a generic, boring hook, if you don't hook them, they skip, they scroll. So what we want is to be able to stop the scroll. People are there, brain rot, just doom scrolling and everything over on on these platforms. But what you want is a video in the first 3, 4, 5 seconds, grab their attention and makes them watch. I can show you a couple of um ideas or like I can show you a couple of videos that we actually use for this maybe in the next video, like to show you how we actually use that to stop the hook, right? So for example, we have okay, so for Maria, okay, I paid $10,000 for new windows in New Jersey. Here's what I actually got, right? And then it gives you like a premise of what she paid for, what she actually got, the installation process, right? This is actually a really good hook because people see a dollar value, they see their city, and they're actually about to see how the installation worked, right? People actually want to see what's going on, what's going on in other people's lives. And then imagine another Maria that wants to actually install energy efficient windows. She's watching Maria's story. And then she will, at the end, we will get a call to action, and then she'll be, really better inclined to go get the um to go, fill out the form and then become a lead, right? So the good thing about this is like platforms like this, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, they use AI to find Maria. Like they have so much data on us, like it's mind-boggling. It's actually very scary sometimes, right? And you know how it is, right? You're using, you probably just talk about something with your spouse one day, and then you actually start seeing that kind of content show up in your feed, or you engage with one kind of content, right? And that kind of content actually shows up as well too, starts showing up. So Meta knows Maria is budget savvy. Meta knows that she's concerned about rising energy bills. They know that she needs a payment plan or she's worried about this. So imagine having um, an ad that says, okay, you know what, are you worried about the high cost of window replacement? Here's how much it costs to replace a window, right? I mean, still a bit basic, right? But we have actually multiple hooks, multiple triggers that we can use to get this person, right? And then Meta knows that this person is actually browsing right now. And then we have 20, 30 videos out there. And then we get leads this way. That's how we're able to generate thousands and thousands of leads every month for our clients. Like I just love this, right? It's crazy how this works. But the idea is you have to work with the platform to get these leads. You have to work with the platform to get these leads. So that's basically how we do it. I'm going to show you the customer. We call it the customer intelligence agent, right? So basically, we can do this for almost any home service, right? But then let's just do this with window replacement. That's what we're talking about today. Window replacement, New Jersey. And then we run the deep research. So what is, first of all, it goes, mines the competitors' reviews, scans forums, analyzes the pain patterns, and then at the end is generating all the marketing hooks, right? It's building an attack plan. How are we going to reach Maria? How are we going to reach Steve? Right? So it pulls all that information from everywhere on the internet, Google, Reddit, and then analyzing this. And then in a second, we're just going to show us, all the information. Like this is what we've got right now. So pain priority matrix, right? So that's the first one. Remember, I was saying here we need to find out what the pain of the client is. Like, how do we camp out in the places where they are? So this app has actually gone to camp out. If you want to do this manually, you can probably do it in, like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 days, 2 weeks, right? But we've been able to do this in seconds, right? So it's going to camp out, and then it knows that, okay, people are really concerned about price transparency. It's been 12 mentions, right? The price they gave us was that, right? Factory direct is for quality, honesty, and fairness. Dimitri's pricing is fair. People are concerned about installation quality. People are concerned about communication, right? They kept me updated, right? Warranty issues, sales pressure. So we know what is actually top of mind for the client. And then you can see it's actually suggesting the hooks that we can use for this, right? And this one is actually one of the most valuable ones, right? So we go pull out all the top 10 competitors in the city, right? And then we pull out their best reviews and their worst reviews, right? So worst reviews, best reviews, and then we can actually see this and then pull this into an AI agent. And then the AI agent analyzes what the client is talking about, what they're actually concerned about, and then uses that to create the hooks, right? I don't know, sometimes it's mind blowing. So we have Bloomfield Window and Door Company. We've got, Window and Door Outlet, best and worst reviews. And then it does like an analysis, right? Next step, what we're going to actually do is actually you can actually pull maybe the top 3 reviews and then use the AI agent to actually give us like a video idea, right? That's definitely coming soon. All right, so we've got that analysis, right? So we know that, this company, their weakness is poor quality control, shipping damage, or used windows. So where is the opportunity? So the opportunity is now, as a company, we now emphasize rigorous quality checks and damage-free delivery guarantee. This is actually an avatar, someone that is actually really concerned about receiving faulty windows or bad installation in this case, right? And then we can highlight this. So you can basically flip what the competitor is struggling with, flip that, and then highlight that as your hook, right? So this is actually the best important, the most important part, right? So we've got these avatars. We've got one, two, three avatars here, right? So the first one is DIY disaster Dave, right? Thrifty but overconfident, and like he regrets taking on the project himself. He doesn't want to do it himself. And then this is what he's thinking about. His pain point is like he's tried to DIY this and actually messed it up, right? And this is actually pulling from all these reviews, right? So imagine getting content that said, like, for example, I thought I could DIY my windows in New Jersey and it was a massive mistake, right? Then this is the hook that we're going to use for our ad, right? It's, and then we actually break it down. It capitalizes on the common experience of DIY projects gone wrong. The video will show like before and after of a poorly installed window, highlighting the issues, and starts with the, again, giving you visual direction about what we're gonna show in the video, right? So now think about this, right? Think about the 2,000 other Daves that actually tried this and then they messed it up, right? So we have that video. You can go actually create a video that actually explains how Dave messed it up. But then if you know what, don't do it yourself. Give us a call and then we'll help you out, right? Then there's, I don't know, I could go back and tell my younger self not to ignore that drafty window in New Jersey. The worst advice I ever got was to hire the cheapest quote, you know. So we're now able to, so now we have one, two, three, four, five, six um different angles that we can target Dave from, right? Same thing with what we call worried wonder, right? We have another six angles that we can target wonder for, right? Same thing with energy efficiency ether, right? So think about this, right? The generic way of being able of saying, like, if do you want high energy or high efficiency windows, give us a call. Think about that. Like if you're going to the market with that kind of ad, and then you have us that will go to the market with this 6 times 3, 18 different angles that we can target and get you leads, who do you think is going to give you the better leads, right? So if your lead vendor is, doing stuff like generic stuff, or you're having issues with contact rates, you're having issues with like expensive leads, um, yeah, this is how we are able to, like, work with our clients, our national partners, and be able to give them hundreds and hundreds of leads, every month, right? So um I hope you've kind of enjoyed this, or you understand how we can help. If you want to give us a call, there'll be a link in the description below. Looking forward to working with you guys. And yeah, so see you in the next video. All right, thank you.